Let's talk about this, and then we'll get into polls. We have this story from the New York Post. Do you want to read the headline? You made a noise.
Joe Biden reportedly exports 5 million oil barrels despite U.S. gas prices.
How from our strategic oil reserve. I threw up in my mouth a little bit when I saw this story. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they would be so stupid or just so evil. Gas prices are through the roof. They're at record highs. It's like, I think 480 according to AAA. It hit 5, a month ago. People are struggling. They're dipping into their savings. They're running out of money. The supply chain is crippled. And Joe Biden says, I'm gonna pull 20 million barrels strategic reserve to help lower the prices. You know what I'm saying? And then we find out now he exported to Europe and Asia. So let me just simplify this for you. At a time when we don't have enough and the prices are through the roof, Biden gave some away. For what reason? I don't know how you look at a story like this and think that the Democrats could win anything.
Maybe he exported it at a profit, spiking the market somewhere else.
There's one argument that he's trying to spike the price of gas by selling below market, losing money intentionally to force everyone else to compete with the low price. But he doesn't have enough oil to do that.
That's what I was going to say. It's not enough to drive.
I think it has more to do with Ukraine.
Well, go ahead.
No, yeah, I think it's they want fuel for the war. So I think that's what they're doing.
He's laundering fuel into Ukraine.
Joe Biden
he might be.
Could you put it past him?
Was engaged in illicit deals with Ukraine, and now he's cutting checks by the billion.
If he sends it to Germany and then Germany sends theirs to Ukraine, we essentially send it to Ukraine.
Yeah, and
that's called laundering.
You also have Putin. The movements from the Russian army, we were all told he was going to go into Kiev, but it was a failure, so we had to pull back. If you look at where he is, I mean, he's right over the shale depots. So,
right.
I mean, I don't know how you could look at the Russian military's position and conclude anything other than the Western media was lying to us, and
absolutely
Putin absolutely had a plan. And
insane propaganda. All these videos coming out of Ukrainian soldiers with cigars being like, "I just killed a bunch of Russians."
The cigar. What was it? The Kiev, the pilot,
the ghost of Kiev.
The ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, some
that was
of
like day one.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Look,
day 3 or something.
I like Ukraine. I have friends there. Amazing country. Really enjoyed my time there. I'm sad to see what's happening, but I am sick of the lies and the manipulation. I think there's two things. One, I think it is bad that Putin invaded. I think he was losing the soft power conflict. So he wants to maintain control of Crimea for the warm water port. He wants the eastern regions for a lot of reasons. There's politics, there's ideology, there's partisanship, all that stuff. However, I think Joe Biden, in a much bigger way, is beholden to Ukraine for the illicit deals that he was doing. That explains it. Look, people are like, why didn't Vladimir Putin invade when Donald Trump was president? Good question. I think Putin did fear Donald Trump a little bit. Why is all this going down now under Joe Biden? Because I think Joe Biden was cutting backroom deals. I'm sorry. I got to pause. I don't think I know.
You know it.
Because there's a video of Joe Biden saying, I said you're not getting the money unless you fire the prosecutor. Just so happens that prosecutor was investigating the company where Joe Biden's son was on the board. So I'm not saying that's why he fired the guy. I'm not going that far. I'm saying, wouldn't any prosecutor just show that to a jury and be like, hey, done. How about that? So now Joe Biden is cutting our taxpayer dollars, or I should say Federal Reserve money, by the billions. What are they at? $70 billion? And then he's like, we're going to send hundreds of millions of more weapons and fuel now going to Europe. I think they got him by the balls. I think Joe Biden was cutting dirty deals for his son, and now he has no choice but to force us to be involved. And I don't think it's just Joe Biden. I think it's the bureaucratic state. They've invested too much in this and they won't back down. So the Democrats are all on board. And then the low information voters who are too stupid to realize what's going on, who couldn't tell you where Qatar was, let alone the Qatar-Turkey pipeline, are sitting there going like, yay, Joe Biden, you're a hero. Slava Ukrainia.
Which is why it was such a scandal the media held all of this from the American people and electorate to begin with. Because this is why you care whether your president is doing deals like this. If Obama had appointed him as the front man for U.S.-Ukraine relations and he used that position to enrich his family, to enrich himself, you don't put people who are potentially, I don't want to use the Rachel Maddow word, but they can. They got you by the short and curlies and you have no choice. I mean, the polls, been going back to the polling, Americans never wanted to do this. They never wanted to send lethal aid. At one point, we barely had them teetering in favor of sending humanitarian aid, which is this very ethereal term. They just view it as money. But when you got to lethal force or anything else, they were out. They never, and he just ignored that. So yeah, have you ever seen an unpopular president ignore the will of the people and do what Joe Biden does in these cases? I would argue no. And you never see a congressional Democratic leadership, any majority, who has an unpopular president just ignore the unpopularity of these moves and just full steam ahead, as if there's no political repercussions. They just don't care, it looks like. Something else, it's different. That's not how it works. Presidents with 37% approval ratings don't have political clout.
This